You know this is most likely going to trigger some people, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with that noise though, that's fucking annoying. But can we just take a minute and talk about this cycle that we've got going on between humanity? Now I'm talking about men and women straight relationships. Now this dynamic can also apply to all of the relationships, masculine and feminine energies. But for sake of simple explanation's sake, let's just use my example for my situation that I experienced before in life, which is men and women, and the most common that I observe. Now, I personally feel there is a huge lack of divine masculine presence in the world, in the earth, in men, in society. Now, that's not blaming all men, that's not their fault. I don't believe that they were raised with the appropriate skill set, with the appropriate emotional intelligence, with the appropriate nervous system regulation, with the appropriate, knowing what to do in life as a man. And I think that has had the biggest impact on society you could imagine. And it was all orchestrated for a reason, completely orchestrated for a reason. Now, the reason is divide and conquer, in it, because if you can divide and conquer the most powerful union that could have been in human form, which is divine feminine and divine masculine, in a union, in a human body, explosion, unbreakable, unbeatable. And so they had to divide and conquer that, break up the family dynamic. That was key. And by doing that, they've set men and women at pure warfare to each other. And this is not just a man problem. You know, there is a lot of women that are also not in their feminine, not living up to their role as a mother, as a nurturer, as a feminine role of love with their children, with their life, with their experience. Now, that's not saying you need to be at home being Stepford housewife. That's not what I'm saying. It's about having the emotional presence as a mother to be there for your children in the emotional capacity, in the way that a mother needs to be for their child. So, when a man is either emotionally, physically, or spiritually not present, not providing, not showing up, then that causes a woman to shift from her natural, vulnerable femininity into masculine energy. Now, she has to go into masculine energy because her nervous system has gone into fight or flight, because there is not that job being filled, the provision, protection, guardian, whatever it is that is needing to be done from the masculine that is missing. She notices that gap, so she steps up into her masculine energy. What this then causes is to shut men down. Now, this leaves men feeling without a role, without a purpose, and this is all going on subconsciously. This is not a conscious thing, but it emasculates men. And I have yet to see this is going to sound triggering, but I'm true with it, that I'm going to own with it, a soul providing women only, women providing only from that household and men not providing anything, where that man isn't emasculated and it isn't having an effect on his pride on a deep level. Now, again, we don't live in the ideal world, so I understand that not everything is in its ideal, and I get that. However, if we had more male, masculine, divine masculine presence, safety, emotional intelligence, being able to communicate, being able to lean on the masculine race for support, for relief of the woman's nervous system, the woman would then shift from toxic masculinity, from providing, from in her full-on masculine get shit done boss mode, to more of a softer version of self. Therefore, she would be kinder. She would want to spend more time. There would be a lot more sexual vibes going on, because she will be in her woman energy, her receptive energy. She will be open to receiving rather than providing. So you see how the dynamic is hugely affecting relationships. It's affecting relationships in the family. It's affecting upbringing. It's affecting children's psychological state. It's then affecting those child psychological state ideals of a partner and how that looks. The world is so fucked right now. And you can't say anything because you get labelled a mad sexist. And bro, I used to be a mad feminist, so that's what the funniest thing is. But let's be real. None of that is working for everybody who's feeling completely burnt out as a nervous system. I know I was completely my hyper masculine, and I'm still there in a lot now, because the provisions around me don't provide me to be my full feminine. And it's draining to my nervous system. I can feel it. I can feel my nervous system begging for relief, but having to fight another day in the masculine. And that is fucking tiring. And I don't want to raise my daughter to believe that she has to do all this, that she has to be in her masculine forever. I want to raise her to know that when she meets the right divine partner, she's okay to be vulnerable, to lean into that. That's not to say she's not going to know how to provide and look after herself if she needs to, but it's the knowing that she doesn't have to, if there is provision to not have to. And know that that's not a cop-out. That's not letting go and letting down, letting the women down. It's total bullshit. That's allowing her to soften into her natural energy and embrace, to focus on things she might want to focus more on, which is raising children for them small years, and then you get the whole rest of the time to have your life back again for them little small period of time. You get to fully focus on raising them babies as well as living your own life, and what an honour. What an honour that we just discard by sending them back to school and nursery in a few weeks old. Very sad. And I will also be teaching my son that he's not just there, obviously, to provide, but he's there to have a certain role as a masculine, as a divine masculine. That's what his soul chose in this lifetime. And that brings a beautiful role that he can choose or not choose to encompass, but he will have them codes engraved within him if he so chooses to follow that timeline. He's not going to have to fight to retranslate what it means to be a man and a woman, and what it means to be in a relationship, and what it means to have a union between a divine masculine and a divine feminine.